APS expects to welcome more than 30,000 students in 2021. As we grow, we need to use all available space at our schools. We are excited to open a new elementary school at Reed in 2021. A boundary process in 2020 will create an attendance zone for this new school and an adjusted neighborhood attendance zone around Arlington Science Focus School. This boundary process will move some students to other schools. One challenge APS faces in creating attendance zones is that there are more available seats in one part of the county and more students than seats in other areas. What does this mean for our students? Neighborhood schools are the only schools that experience boundary changes because these are open to all students who live within their boundaries or attendance zones. Option schools have students from throughout the county. Their enrollment is not tied to boundaries, but can increase if APS finds enough space for additional classes or uses relocatable classrooms. Boundaries can be developed in many ways, but for the sake of discussion, let's look at a map that represents the type of boundaries and challenges seen when we use our past approach to fill schools to capacity. This approach results in long and extended boundaries, attendance zones that do not include their entire walk zones, and one neighborhood school located outside of its attendance zone. Under this sample past approach map, more than 38%, or 4,000 neighborhood elementary school students, would be reassigned to other schools, and no option school students would move. Nearly 30% of students living in a walk zone would require a bus. APS decided to look for a solution that keeps together as many students as possible in each school community and allows more students to walk. Change is happening, and we need to manage it with the best interests of all students in mind, using a countywide perspective that involves both neighborhood and option schools. Adjusting boundaries at neighborhood schools and moving countywide option schools are vital solutions to managing growth without affecting instruction or adding to long-term operational costs. Two proposed solutions present an approach to move some schools and avoid long, extended boundaries. These proposals would allow APS to use schools to maximum capacity and resources efficiently, keep together as many students in each school community as possible, keep as many students as possible walking to their neighborhood schools, provide neighborhood seats needed in the high-growth Roslyn area, allowing future capital efforts to focus on another high-growth area, Columbia Pike, increase access to options for some students. In Proposal 1, APS would make the following changes before developing boundaries. The majority of McKinley students would move to the new school at Reed, keeping more students together. Arlington Traditional School would move together to McKinley, allowing 100 more students to enroll in ATS. Immersion would move together from Key to the ATS building, bringing immersion to a central location. In this proposal, 23%, or more than 2,400 neighborhood school students, would be reassigned to other schools, and 18% of students living in a walk zone would require a bus. In Proposal 2, APS would make the same changes for McKinley, Reed, and ATS before developing boundaries. In addition, Expeditionary Learning would move together from Campbell to the centrally located ATS site. Immersion would move together from Key to Carlin Springs in support of the English-Spanish dual language model. In this proposal, 20%, or more than 2,100 neighborhood school students, would be reassigned to other schools, and 13% of students living in a walk zone would require a bus. In both these proposals, moving the immersion program from Key allows APS to create a much-needed neighborhood elementary school in an area where seats are needed the most. We are committed to strengthening our dual-language immersion K-12 pathway, and APS will consider concurrent opportunities to increase student access to immersion that is not site-specific. The solutions proposed use school buildings and resources efficiently, allow more students to walk, and keep together the majority of students in each school community. The planning phase for the boundary process will run through January 2020. Find out more and get engaged. Visit apsva.us/engage for a timeline and community engagement opportunities. Find out more and get engaged.